So can anyone tell me what is a screening test? When talking about a newborn screening, it definitely means a screening test for a newborn. But then screening test is for everybody also. For me, you, everybody. Anyone has done any screening test any time in past? Got your CBC done any time? Hemoglobin ka test? किया है? That is screening test. Screening test to screen for thalassemia. You got a thyroid done sometimes? So that is also a screening test. You do your normal sugar test, or people go to the diagnostic centers for getting a stress test done. So that is a screening test for whether there is a heart problem or not. Okay, so there are a lot of screening tests available for different disorders and different problems. Similarly, the first screening test that a child should be going through when they are born should be a newborn screening test. Now, why is it important? I'll just take you through the process of the test. Now, this test was invented, or it has been initiated in US in 1960. And today it's 2011. So after so many years it is coming to India. Earlier it was just about one test, which was called as a test called as PKU, or phenylketonuria. And that is why the newborn screening test is also called as the PKU test. Now, what was the importance of the test? The doctor who was researching on PKU found out that if we diagnose PKU very early in life and we take remedial measures by just avoiding certain food products, these children are totally healthy and fine. But if that is not done, all these children have a lot of complications in their future. So they decided that yes, this should be done. In 1970, another test was added in US, which was thyroid screening. At that time, they found out that if all the babies are screened for thyroid and treated, if any of them are detected to be having a problem, then these babies are going to be turning normal. A big change happened in 1990 when there was a lot of technological innovations. And suddenly from these two tests, it blew up to 50, 40, 50 tests together. That is purely because of the technological advances. And that time the test was done by pricking the heel. So when the child is born, the heel is pricked, drops are collected, and that is why it is also called as the heel prick test. This is a small video, just omit it right now, I'll show you at the end. So the point is, what is a screening test? A screening test is a test for a particular disease, as I told you. For diabetes, there is a different screening test. For thalassemia, there is a different screening test. That is why for a newborn, for inborn errors of metabolism, there is a screening test. The screening should be very sensitive. So in a population, suppose when we are screening for maybe 100 people in a room, the idea of the test is that if any one of them is having a problem, it should be detected. It should not miss out on that population, because the whole idea of a screening test is to segregate the low risk from the high risk. So there are some people who are going to be low risk, there are some people who are going to be high risk. So the differentiation is important, and that is the aim of the screening test. It may not necessarily tell us what is the problem, but it has to tell us that yes, you need to investigate this person more. So red flag. It has to be easy. It has to have a good cost-benefit ratio, because we are not doing it on selective people. Like a particular problem, if you have low hemoglobin, or you clinically have a problem and we do a CBC test on you, it's fine. Though it may cost 500 rupees, it's fine. But when we are doing it for everyone, of which at least 95% people would be normal, it has to be low in cost also. It cannot be a very costly test. And most importantly, a treatment should be available. What is the point of doing a test when there is no treatment? A screening test, yes, you may do a test for some other problem. If someone has a problem and you want to find out, yes, you definitely can do that. But a screening test, it's not relevant. So what is a metabolic disorder, for which we are going to elaborate upon? Metabolic disorder is nothing but the metabolism that happens into your body. So whenever you eat something, that's not your way your body accepts. If you have a pizza, the body doesn't know what is pizza, but it knows the small things inside. It knows the vitamins inside, it knows the protein inside, the amino acids inside. It knows the carbohydrates inside, the glucose inside, the sugar inside. So it knows only at the molecular level. So everything has to be digested and converted into certain form to a molecular form which a body can understand. Now this conversion process is called as metabolism. Now in every stage of metabolism, lot of enzymes are involved. Like any other process, any other industrial process also, a lot of steps are involved. In our body also there are a lot of steps. But some babies, when they are born, just for no reason altogether, maybe a genetic problem, a particular enzyme is absent. So that particular step cannot happen. So suppose there are 100 steps, out of which at 50th step it stops because the enzyme is not there. So now what happens? So assuming if you are taking A, that A gets converted to B. No, there is no magic here. Okay, it's basically using an enzyme called as AB in your body. Now the B is supposed to get converted to C using another enzyme BC, which normally happens in everybody. But a child which doesn't have this enzyme BC, what happens to that child? B cannot get converted to C. Am I correct? Okay. Now since that cannot happen, what would happen? There is excessive B in your body now. Because you are eating A, it's getting converted to B, but here there is a block, and that is why there is excessive buildup of B into your body. Now this B, because there are alternative ways, like when there is a lot of water which is stored, and the normal channel of water to pass through is not available, it will find some other way to go through. Similarly, the same thing happening to your body also. This gets converted to D. Now when it gets converted to D, this is something which is not expected. And that is why this starts causing problems. It causes metabolic disorders. It starts showing its symptoms. So depending on which organ it goes, it starts showing its problems. So what is the solution for this? Any guesses? Perfect. Right. So first we have to know which that enzyme is. So we detect that enzyme and then we supplement that enzyme. That's an ideal answer. But which is exactly what you said. Create the enzyme and give that enzyme. That is the solution number 1. What is another possibility? What is another thing that you can do? Exactly. So that is your solution number 2. Okay? You would stop giving this. Now, can we create the enzyme? It's not possible. No, we can't create that enzyme. Today's science doesn't allow us to create that enzyme into the body because these enzymes are at a molecular level. Every cell has that enzyme inside. And you can't tell every cell that, okay, you have to create that enzyme because this is a genetic deficiency. And now what we are asking to do is called as genetic modification or genetic engineering. Today it is not possible. Okay? So what is possible today is avoid the food group. So the simple treatment is the day you detect this problem, stop giving this. Such a simple solution. But for that simple solution, you have to detect this problem first, which is very important. So who should be doing it? Everybody. Every baby who is born has to be doing this test. There is no excuse for not doing it. The only excuse is that they can't afford it probably. That's it. Otherwise, this test should be done by everybody. Yeah. Today in India, it costs somewhere around 4,500. No, the whole test, whole profile. Okay. But for those who are not affording, okay, then there is a high risk which has been created. Anyone who has not this help, this is a different help. Health syndrome, someone who has had a precious pregnancy, or someone in your family who has had similar problems in the past, means basically we getting a strong history in your family. Okay. Parents are a little older because older parents tend to have more metabolic problems. So this is the high risk which has to be looked into in depth. But the fact still remains every newborn has to be doing it. And when do we do the test? It is done immediately after the baby is born, after 24 to 48 hours. So if the test is done and we find out there is a problem, then what happens? we start treating that problem. The time we start treating the problem, and the outcome is excellent. We have detected the problem, we have started treating it before actually the problems have started. These babies are going to be totally healthy and normal and fine. But in case either we don't detect it because we have not done the test, or after doing the test we have not got a correct report, or after getting the test we have not started the treatment. Basically the problem is that treatment has not been started on time. Then what happens? These babies tend to have mental retardation, physical disability, and a lot of babies die also. So bottom line, it's a very serious disorder which should not be missed and never should be missed. Now this is a family of 3. All 3 kids have the same problem. This is an older child. Okay. When it was born first, whatever reason the parents had to do the test, the child is suffering from physical disability and mental retardation. Because they knew about the history, both the children were tested. Both of them had the same problem. Both have been put on special diets and they are totally normal and fine. So the point is that even though if someone has a problem and the treatment is taken at time, they are going to be totally healthy and fine. Pardon? Yeah, that is GA. I'll tell you in the advance because they are all abbreviations. They are very long names. The abbreviation is GA. Okay. So what is the benefits of doing a newborn screening test? Because it is just done once in a life, like a blood group test. You do your blood group, does it ever change in life? No, it doesn't. If you have thalassemia, you know you have thalassemia, does it ever change in your life? No, it doesn't. Similarly, same thing. If you have an IEM, you have an IEM. You don't need to repeat it again and again. It's not going to disappear also, neither it's going to come back. And if you don't have it, you don't have it. It's never going to come back at a later point. It saves a lot of cost for those babies who are suffering from IEM and not getting detected. Because everybody is not doing it. No one knows about these problems. You tend to miss it out. You think this is very similar to those bacterial disorders because the symptoms are like that, initial symptoms. You have vomiting, diarrhea, babies will not feed properly, they will refuse to feed, they will have little difficulty in breathing. So this is very similar to infection. Even a newborn baby who suffers from infection will have the same problems. So doctors get confused. It's this or this. And because it's a costly test, everybody assumes that in India there is a lot of infection. So yes, the most obvious thing is there is infection. These babies try to pull on a lot of antibiotics and after a lot of days then they think, okay, let us do an IEM screening. We do an IEM screening and they go, oh, we maybe missed it. We should have done this earlier. This is a very common story in India today. Inborn errors of metabolism. So, how is the testing done? When the baby is born, the testing is done. After the testing is done, if the testing says that yes, this baby is totally healthy and fine and it is a negative screen, means everything is normal. This baby is fit to go home and the report is said that he doesn't have any of the treatable inborn errors of metabolism. In case if that report says that there is something which is flagging up, there is some problem, a repeat test is done. A repeat test is done to find out whether that problem is actually there or it is a false positive. False positive meaning that the lab tells you yes, there is a problem, but actually the baby is fine. So if this report says yes, there is a problem, then you confirm it again with another test, a different kind of a test to confirm it. Or in case if that baby already is showing some problems because of the problem, some symptoms because of the problems, then you directly start the treatment. Okay? And if the confirmatory test says again no problem, it's all fine, the babies are discharged and they are supposed to go home and they are labeled as they are not suffering from any IEMs. So as I told you, why are the symptoms missed? Because it's very similar to bacterial infection, which is very common, and all the doctors in India know in and out about bacterial disorders, and that is why they confuse this with the IEMs. There is very limited data which is coming in India, so it is perceived this is not a very common problem because no one knows about it. There have never been any studies which have been done in India. No importance is given to IEM because it's not seen. What is not seen is not heard. And there is very few labs in India which really screen for this test. if maybe just 2 labs in India.